Welcome bitches, one and all, to my reaction to Season 4, Episode 4 of the Vampire Diaries, The Five. Now, last time we had our first interactions between Klaus and Connor, to which it seems like Klaus knows a lot more about Connor and these vampire hunters as a whole than we do, so I'm excited to explore that. He did mention The Five, whatever that is, which is the namesake of this episode, so I assume, bloody hell, that we're going to be getting deeper into that and uncovering a lot more mysteries. So yes, anyway, with that said, very excited to get into it and find out more about these vampire hunters. So without further ado, let's go. Oh, I didn't even take in that that said 1110 AD. Brain was a little slow there. So about 900 years ago then, interesting. Ah, the Five. So they've each got swords. Interesting that the ritual comes with its own tattoo. I wonder what the significance of that is.
Guy magically appears just as someone blows up the entire Founders Council. It's covered in a tattoo that only Jeremy Gilbert, of all people in the world, seems to be able to see. Liz Forbes, my favorite sheriff.
Lizzie?
That's concerning.
What?
What, you're not going to tell me? Can't tell you. Private.
What?
We're in a fight.
Oh, for God's sake.
They didn't find any remains at the explosion site. So Connor's still out there.
Okay.
Apparently so.
The Vampire Diaries has a habit of doing that, which, like, don't get me wrong, I love it. But it has a habit of having something like them thinking that he's dead and just immediately them finding out at the start of the next episode that they're not dead. Do you get what I mean? They don't, like, drag it on for too long, which I find to be one of the most annoying things in television, when someone's missed, like, a tiny bit of information and they drag it on for, like, 10 episodes. I'm like, can we just move on from this? So I love that about the Vampire Diaries. They've done that a few times.
I'm sorry, you have to do what exactly? I'm teaching her how to feed.
Oh.
She needs to learn snatch, eat, erase now more than ever. We're not in a fight, remember?
Please don't be, like, peed off of this, Stefan.
I can't drink from a blood bag. I can only drink from the vein.
So interesting.
Oh,
I wonder why.
Almost got you.
That's why we're not using the wood ones for Hunter Defense class.
Bloody hell.
Don't be jealous. You know I wish it could be you.
Uh-huh.
Fine, you wish it could be me.
We're crashing Bonnie's trip to Whitmore College.
Why is Bonnie going to Whitmore College?
Took over her Grams' classes. He invited her.
I didn't even know her Grams teached classes. Did we know that till now? What did she teach?
Last I heard, you were leaving town. Forever.
Then I thought to myself, how can I, when my sister, clearly so desperate for love and affection, is left here bribing the hell?
Fuck off.
Thought I was dead to you.
Things change, Rebecca. What if I told you the Brotherhood of the Five still existed?
What?
Interesting.
I don't care about the Five, and I don't care about you.
Who are the Five? But also, well done for sticking up for yourself.
Better you learn this now than at freshman orientation.
Something tells me that college isn't in my future anymore.
I didn't even think that. Sorry for pausing so much. I realize I've done it a lot so far. But I keep forgetting that by the end, I'm assuming by the end of season 4, they'll be done with high school. Like, next season onwards, we're in college. That's going to be such an interesting thing because it won't be in Mystic Falls. I assume Mystic Falls doesn't have its own college. I assume they've gone somewhere else. But yeah, that's going to give a really different vibe to the show.
When I say the word witch,
Huh?
what pops into your head?
Bonnie.
Witches have appeared across every culture in history. They're the architects of the supernatural, responsible for everything that goes bump in the night, from ghosts to vampires to doppelgangers.
God. The fact that we've seen them all.
What if I'm a ripper?
You're not a ripper.
What if I am?
Well, then pick someone and we'll find out.
Jesus, Damon. I mean, it's a surefire way.
Easily flattered, you just have to separate her from the pack and make your move.
Am I interrupting you guys? Or is it maybe the other way around?
Huh.
As I'm sure you figured out, our friend here can't be compelled.
Interesting.
You're full of mysteries, aren't you? Shall we?
I'm just so interested in his character because he didn't know about the Five, but he's still a vampire hunter, so he must have some knowledge.
Who is this guy? What's the Five?
So many questions.
Will he answer?
It's a good thing I have nothing to do today except get answers out of you.
Fair dues.
The Brotherhood of the Five was a group of highly skilled vampire hunters.
Enhanced by
Crossed
witchcraft.
paths with them in the 12th century, Italy.
Holy fuck, I love flashbacks.
So witness with your own eyes.
Jesus Christ.
Between you here and Cole in the East, you have not been discreet. Stories that the original vampires are spreading.
I welcome such infamy.
How I miss you, Elijah.
Perhaps you should wrangle our sister. So these hunters have been around for 900 years, apparently.
I am intrigued as to whether they are not necessarily immortal, because obviously this guy wasn't one of those original 5, but I'm interested to see whether it's the kind of thing where like they have an extended life until they are killed and then it gets passed on to their descendants or something. Like, I want to find out more about that, but yeah, very intriguing. The thing that I'm so like hooked on is the fact that this guy says that he doesn't know about the 5, he doesn't know about his history, and yet he knows about vampires and is a vampire hunter. So where has this knowledge been lost, and what does he have? Why does he still know about vampires? Is it something where it's like inherently within them, where they have to hunt vampires? It's in their blood. It's like their driving force.
She fell in love with him.
Oh God.
He told her all his secrets, which I will gladly share with you, provided you do one thing for me.
What?
Get Rebecca over here. She's being stubborn and hateful. I need to make peace with her.
I wonder why she's being stubborn and hateful.
Hey, April. Can I get you some more water?
I'm good.
What's the deal
I'm
with
not just
April?
sitting here alone like the loser new girl.
What's her like plan for the story?
Klaus wants me to fake peace with you, so you'll talk about the 5. I'm not saying that I'm willing to forgive you for what you did to Elena, but I'm willing to set it aside and start over.
Or what if I don't care what you or anyone else thinks?
Rebecca, that's your entire personality, unfortunately.
So maybe I can talk to him about a clean slate, too.
Good job, Stefan. You had the perfect approach there.
This isn't gonna hurt. Please don't scream.
Poor Elena. Oh.
It's my little sister.
Get out of here. Go back to class.
Elena's compassion is going to be such a big problem.
Why do you care?
I care because I'm still me.
Yeah.
I still have the same feelings, Damon. Sorry if that spoils your master plan to turn me in.
It's so difficult to deal with. Like, how the fuck can Elena get past this? As a human being, she was the most compassionate, most empathetic person of all the people in the show. So to have her turn into someone who has to drink from a human being's vein, potentially killing them every time, or else she'll die. Like, what do you do with that? How on earth is she going to get past this? It's definitely not going to be easy, but I do wonder what will help her along the way. Whether just not thinking about it, whether just convincing herself that these people are awful, like convincing herself that the person she's feeding from is an awful human being, so it doesn't matter. Do you get what I mean? Like, what she has to find some way to convince her brain that what she's doing is okay, you know?
A frat party, douche central, which is why you'll be eating very well tonight.
If I was Elena, the one group of people that I wouldn't mind feeding on would be frat brothers.
Welcome home, sister.
Where's this bloody tattoo?
Oh, the tattoos aren't visible on this lot like they were on the last.
Huh. Intriguing. The whole thing with the tattoo has changed over time.
You broke my neck.
You threw away Elena's blood, so I can't make any more hybrids.
Because you took me for granted.
That's what big brothers do, sweetheart.
What?
I often forget how delicate you are. Forgive me?
Oh, he's so aggravating. I couldn't handle him being my brother.
He was looking for creatures of the night, which is why we felt quite safe around him wearing our daylight rings.
True.
We have the ultimate weapon, which no vampire can survive.
So that's what this is about. A weapon.
Is it their swords?
Because in order to find this weapon, we need to solve the puzzle.
Tattoo. What is it?
A map.
Ah.
Fat lot of good a tattoo's gonna do if we can't see it.
We
You know
can't,
someone
but
who
some of us
can.
Why don't you tell the hybrid to bring him in, love?
Oh, for fuck's sake, Klaus. Yep.
I wouldn't. Lucky for us, young Jeremy here is a bit of an artist.
True. Huh?
Oh, I'm afraid you are.
Jeremy, please just, like, Jeremy, at the end of the day, just do it. It's not worth losing your life over.
Welcome to the murder house. Bloody Mary's free until midnight. Enjoy yourselves.
Bloody Mary's free?
Hats off to these idiots.
Fuck me. Get me over there.
I'm gonna go talk to him.
Like, I get that this professor's young, but correct me if I'm wrong, is it not extremely abnormal for a professor to be at a frat party? Like, huh? What?
I think I found one.
Roofie guy?
He looks familiar to Matt. Oh. Roofie guy. Okay, yeah. So she's picked someone that inherently is bad.
You're not gonna make a sound.
Oh, Elena.
Now remember, the idea is not to kill him. Elena.
Elena.
Leave and forget about this.
And never roofie people.
I feel good.
Hell yeah. Well done. You did it.
I want more.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's what we don't like to hear, but okay.
You were trying to hurt people who were important to me.
Important to you?
Yeah.
That vampire just threatened to kill you.
Not him.
Years ago, I met someone with the mark. Claimed he had this intense desire to kill
Desire.
vampires.
Okay.
Like it was ingrained in his DNA.
Ah, then he got the mark.
I lost track of him, and then one day, tattoo just showed up on me.
I assume he died then.
The more vampires I killed, the more it spread.
Ah.
Like it was trying to tell me something. I just don't know what.
Interesting. So, is the tattoo a map for the hunter? Like, is it a tattoo that, like he said, it's like it was trying to tell him something? The more vampires he killed, it's like it got him ready to then go and get this weapon that could kill vampires. I assume is it some kind of like Armageddon weapon? Like full on kills all of them? But yeah, very intriguing that he wasn't born with it. He met a guy who, similar to Jeremy, has potential to become a hunter. And then I assume they died because he said I met them in Iraq while he was serving with them, lost track, and then years later it appeared on him. So I assume that person died, and his interaction with the guy and sort of gaining knowledge about the mark and all that sort of bumped him up the list of potential people who could be one, and then he was next in line. And that leads me to think that by the end of all of this, maybe this episode or a few episodes in the future, this guy's gonna die, and it's gonna go to Jeremy. Because that could be a very interesting concept to explore. The fact that Jeremy has all of these vampires in his family and he is a vampire hunter. But the other thing that's very intriguing to me is he was talking about the desire thing. Like this guy had an innate desire to kill vampires. And did that come from the mark? Like, are they perfectly fine up until they get the mark? And the second it appears, the desire begins? Because if so, again, if that moves to Jeremy, very, very cool concept. So I guess we'll see where this goes.
Rebecca, however, was more than willing to investigate. Isn't that right?
Did she never tell them the truth then? Is that why he's got her here for information?
The sword is the key to reading it.
Ah.
Have you considered my offer?
What?
To come with me when I leave to follow the map.
Ah.
That is a very special weapon for a very special kind of vampire.
Oh, they're the originators of the daggers.
Let us not talk of such evil.
Oh, I fucking love this show, bro. That's so cool.
And this.
What happens between these two, though? Does he find out?
He and his brothers put us all down in our sleep.
Oh.
Elijah, Cole, Finn, and me.
How was I supposed to know?
Cheers.
How did they recover then if all of them were put down in their sleep? How did they ever get out of that?
I thought the daggers didn't work on you because of your werewolf side.
Ah.
They don't.
Okay. I'm an idiot. I forgot about that. It's been so long.
What happened?
He's dead.
Him.
Jesus.
Your only family was nearly wiped out because of your stupidity.
Damn.
What did he promise you? Tell me, Rebecca!
Tell him what the hunter told you the tattoo leads to. What's this great weapon that could bring about the end of the vampire species?
A cure.
Huh?
He said there was a cure.
Huh? A cure for vampirism?
Because when the hunters drew their final breath that night, the marks disappeared from their body. The map was gone. The Brotherhood of the Five extinct.
The tattoos must have transferred to the next 5 then, and from there just continue down history. But why would there be no word of them? Is it because from that moment on, the map was then hidden, and these hunters then worked in secrecy for 900 years? Is that how that worked? I'm so fucking invested in this, guys.
You'd think she would have learned by now from the endless cycle of disappointment and deception.
But I haven't. Instead, I stay with you and let you leech every moment of happiness from my life.
Get him, Rebecca.
Klaus left him daggered because he was tired of his judgment.
Finn was a dullard. He's more interesting lying in a box.
So from that moment on, Finn was left.
You're for Elena, don't you? So you can go back to mass producing your hybrids, or
You
can shove
bastard.
your cure.
I love you, Rebecca. Like, Rebecca's done so much wrong in the past, do not get me wrong, but compared to Klaus, she's so much better of a person. And I do think that there's definite potential for Rebecca to become a very good person, but we'll see. We have seen elements of it through Matt. I feel like if her and Matt actually got together, he would be able to not change her, but definitely influence her in the right direction, because being around Klaus has turned her into a very bad human being, and I'm glad that she's finally getting away from him.
Well, I hope you got what you wanted out of her before you chased her off.
She never would have told me what I needed to know, but she'll tell you.
Huh?
What do you need me to find out?
Does he not know how...
Useless without the tool to decipher it.
I was about to say, does he not know that you need the sword? She knows where it is?
And you're gonna get her to tell you.
Why would she know where it is? Did she take it and hide it? I think Stefan's more interested in it for both of them, because imagine being free of his Ripper side.
Do you practice?
Oh.
Like she did.
Not anymore. I lost control of myself and there were consequences.
Witches love their consequences, don't they? You know, there are other ways to practice magic. If you're interested.
Like what?
I'm just a guy with a very open mind who's seen a lot of things. And I'm willing to pass some of them along.
Ah, hell yeah. I want to hear about this. Is it like different cultures' ways of using magic? Elena? Just to finish my thought before we get into this, yeah, a lot of different cultures have their own ways of practicing magic and their own things that they would draw upon. So is that what he's getting into? That there are things that he's learned about different types of magic that Bonnie could learn? Because that's really interesting. But yeah, back to this. Elena, like, you gotta be careful, my darling, because you seem like you're binging. And that's not good in any scenario. Oh my god, they both just got blood dripping. Damon definitely brings out Elena's wild side. Oh god, Bonnie's not gonna be happy with this. Yeah. Snapped back into reality.
Oh my god.
Like, we all know Elena well enough to know that she would not be happy with herself after this, even if they had the best night of their lives. When she woke up, she would have so much regret. So I do find that the one problem with Damon is, even though he helps her let go, even though he basically just allows her to be free and experience all the happiness and all that, you should know Elena well enough to know that you should stop her. You should be like, right, that's enough, we should go, because she's just going to hate herself for it.
What is this?
It's a tattoo.
I've seen the tattoo, you impertinent punk. There's more to it.
It's all of it.
Interesting. I want to have a look at this. So yeah, you got the original symbol there, and it's like a tree, isn't it? Growing up. Now, he said that it's not all of the tattoos. So there's two thoughts going through my head. Either it's that he hasn't killed enough vampires, because he said that it just kept growing the more he killed, or you need all 5 tattoos together to get the map.
He said every time he kills a vampire, it spreads.
Tell the girl to take Jeremy home. Keep this one alive at all costs.
Ooh.
Looks like you got too much leash.
Oh, Nate, I think you're about to die, mate. Ew. I think... Oh my god, you crazy fucker. Smart, though.
Why am I acting like this?
Because you listen to Damon and Damon makes everything he wants sound like a good idea.
I should be here with Stefan. I shouldn't be here with him.
Oh, my darling.
She's acting like a different person.
She is a different person. She's a vampire. We're a predatory species. We enjoy the hunt, the feed, and the kill. And when the guilt gets too bad, we switch off our humanity and we revel in it.
Interesting. Just want to think about that for a second. Mull over the words. I definitely do think that Damon is right, but I don't think that there's just one way to be a vampire. I think that that is a very base level way, like very much what's in a textbook about vampires, you know, but that doesn't mean that's who you have to be. That doesn't mean that's what you have to do. But I do think he does make a very good case for the idea of that's why he doesn't end up killing people and ripping their heads off, because he makes it into a fun little game. But I will say, We've seen examples of plenty of vampires who see it as a game and kill the human, you know? So I don't know if you could necessarily say that that's why you're better than Stefan and that's why you don't end up killing people. Do you get what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's down to you. You as Damon do not want to kill people. Whereas you look at someone like Catherine, she would just happily kill the human being and leave them in the street. You know what I mean? Like, it's very much down to the person, which again, it's like it is with Elena. She does not even want to do that and she feels awful about it. But he is right that she is a different person now, and everyone's seeing her as the same Elena that she was, even herself seeing herself as the same Elena that she was before. It's not true. She has definitely changed. But to summarize, I don't really think that Damon was all in all correct, that that's how Elena has to be because she's a vampire and that's what vampires are, because I think they can make their own decisions. But he is definitely correct in that she has changed and she should try and explore herself a bit more now.
I know you wanted my help. It just makes me so angry.
And me.
I wanted it back then. I was willing to leave behind my family for it.
Part of me wishes that she and I can have an eternity together. But Damon's right. There's not a single vampire who hasn't killed a human. Elena will kill.
Just waiting for it to happen.
If she turns off her humanity, then I don't think we'll ever get her back. So I'd do anything to save her.
I envy that. You and Elena. I envy the love you have.
Oh, my darling.
I know you want my help, Stefan. But I just can't do anything that lets my brother get what he wants.
I never did answer your question. If it meant that I got to be with her,
you would 100% take it.
Be buried together. I'd take the cure.
I buried him. Even after everything, I laid him to rest in the place where we were to be married.
And that's where the sword is.
What kind of hopeless fool does that?
Did she realize what she just did?
But that's what you wanted to know, isn't it? Because I buried him with his sword.
It's so frustrating because it gives me the same vibes of Caroline, where I keep getting pissed off about how she's used. The people in this show just continuously use Rebecca. Continuously. It's so rare that she ever has a meaningful moment with someone where it isn't them double-crossing her, and it's just so fucking sad. Because deep down, she seems like a genuinely good person. She seems like someone who is compassionate towards people and is very in touch with her emotions for a vampire. But unfortunately, with the way that people always use her, she's learned to have many defense mechanisms, and she's learned to use her emotions in the worst way and to get revenge on people and to take her anger out on others. And it's just fucking sad because at the end of the day, when you can see the root cause, but it's just continuously done to someone, like, can you even blame Rebecca for who she is?
I'm sorry, little sister, but you're right. You really are a hopeless fool.
Fuck right off. Stefan! Are you kidding me?
Laugh at the girl who loved too easily. But I would rather have lived my life than yours, Nick. No one will ever sit around a table telling stories about a man who couldn't love.
Nice. Fucking digging deep.
Do it!
Fuck you, Klaus, honestly. Like, actually, fuck you. Oh my god, the way that pissed me off, bro.
My hybrids will keep an eye on Connor. You put Rebecca somewhere no one will find her, and make sure Jeremy forgets everything he heard today. No one must know about the cure, do you understand? Not Damon.
I need a moment to, like, de-anger, because that really pissed me off. It's so frustrating to see someone taken advantage of so often and so easily, and, like, to know that she can never let her guard down. She can never get close to people because she's just constantly used. It's so fucking annoying. I just really hope that Stefan comes to his senses and wakes her up, because I've had enough.
I think that you're right, and I hate that feeling, because I don't want to be...
You don't want to be like me.
Hey.
Any news on the hunter?
No, nothing new.
Well, then today was a bust.
So he is going to keep it a secret then?
You were right. I got caught up in it.
It'll get easier.
But I don't want it to get easier. I'm becoming someone that I don't want to be.
You just have to hold on.
That's only going to reinforce Stefan now.
I'll keep him fat and happy.
You should send 2 more for protection. Make that 3.
Bro, you're about to die. You're absolutely about to die. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy shit. Fuck me. Huh? Is he one of the 5?
Shouldn't you be in Mystic Falls killing vampires?
Ah.
Why the hell did you send me there?
Interesting. The plot thickens. I knew you would have a deeper meaning to the story. Oh, what an amazing episode. I love episodes that are really revealing. Like, you get a lot of information. You get a lot more questions as well, but you get a lot of answers and a lot more mysteries. So yes, there we have it. Season 4, episode 4 of The Vampire Diaries. Another fantastic episode overall. I really like episodes where we go back into the past because, I don't know, there's just something so... One thing that's very unique about The Vampire Diaries, I don't know if you can necessarily call it unique. It's unique to me because I haven't experienced it on the level of this before, where The Vampire Diaries, or whenever you have a flashback episode, it reveals answers to things that were like such minor little plot points, like the daggers, because yeah, I thought to myself when we first were introduced to the daggers, where did these come from? Why are these a thing? Did Klaus make them? Did someone else make them? Like, I always wondered that, but as time progressed, I forgot about it because it's such a little thing to get so hung up over. But to actually have an answer that makes sense, like, these guys are vampire hunters. They were imbued with power by a witch who would understand how witchcraft works and would understand the thing with the white oak tree. Like, it makes so much sense. And I love that they introduced that. But yeah, back to the dagger itself. I'm really fucking pissed off with Klaus right now for what he did to Rebecca there, because I know I went on about it, so I won't stay on it for too long, but it just really pisses me off to see Rebecca taken advantage of so many times, because like, it just brings me back to so many moments where Rebecca has been sort of used for information, and not just that, but you think back to the scene with Elena and Rebecca, the thing that made Rebecca hate Elena to begin with, where she stabbed her in the back. It's so sad that she is constantly taken advantage of. And I don't think you can really blame her for her behavior. You can't really blame her for the way she is towards people, because at the end of the day, it's all behavior that she's had to learn. She's had to have these hard defense mechanisms, because without them, she would truly be taken advantage of. Like, she's already taken advantage of. Imagine if she didn't have all of these defenses up. So yeah, very pissed off with Klaus for what he's done to her. And I hope soon Stefan comes to his senses and wakes Rebecca up, wherever he fucking left her. Now, the whole thing with the cure, very interesting. I'm excited to explore that. I am a bit hesitant. I don't want to believe it to be real until we actually see it. I don't really, because we've had it in the past with the Vampire Diaries where they've sort of had this thing that you keep going up to, but then it's not what it originally appeared to be. Like the whole sun and moon curse thing, how that was just a lie that Klaus and Elijah made up. I don't want to truly believe it until I see it. So we'll see, but the concept of a cure is very interesting because I didn't even think it was a possibility, because for one, Esther wouldn't have even thought about making it because, well, while she was alive, she wouldn't have thought about making it because it was always meant to be something to protect her family and to help them. But in her death and in all of those, what was it? Like 1,000 years when she was dead watching over her kids. In all that time, she didn't know about a cure. The witches didn't tell her about a cure, because surely a cure would be better than just killing them off, because they're going to be defensive about that. But when it's a cure, depending on the delivery method, you could just use that to put nature back in balance. But then again, we don't know how this cure works. Is there a price to pay? Why was it locked away to the Brotherhood? Like, why lock a cure for vampires away to 5 people who can kill vampires? And why has it not been discovered yet? Why has it not been used yet? Because yeah, these Brotherhood of the 5 all died. Is it because they all died and it was passed on to people who didn't know? Like, for instance, if these 5 people who, I believe they were in Italy, weren't they? if they all die and it randomly goes to 5 people in the world who have no fucking clue what's going on, they just get an urge to kill vampires, is that why no one's ever thought to look for it? Because they don't know the history. They don't know about this treasure. That would make sense. And it would also make sense why this guy who's collecting artifacts and who knows so much about witches and all that, why he would be interested. Because perhaps he sent this guy to Mystic Falls to kill loads of vampires so that his tattoo would grow, so that they could find the cure. It's just a very interesting concept, but like I said, I'm very skeptical right now. But yes, anyway, what other things happened in the episode that we need to talk about? Oh yeah, Elena. The whole thing with her getting a bit carried away. And I appreciated the scene at the doorstep where she said that the scariest thing for her is that what Damon says makes sense. Because it does. And I'm definitely not disagreeing with that. I think that the base core nature of a vampire, it's absolutely true what Damon was saying. But I don't think it has to be true. I don't think that that is what a vampire has to be. You look at Stefan, you look at Caroline. They're very different from that mindset. So while I do agree that yes, that may be what a vampire is at its base core, that's not all you are. That's not what you have to be. We as human beings, at our very cores, are technically primal, and yet we've developed a whole society that says otherwise. So it's just like, there's so many things that you can explore with that, and I don't think that you should just diminish yourself to the base nature of who you are. You know what I mean? Like, why diminish yourself to just these attributes of a vampire? Why not make yourself better? Why not make yourself more than that? But to do that, you would have to see that as a problem. And I think that's the main difference between Caroline, Stefan, and then Damon, is that Damon doesn't see it as a problem, so he doesn't try and fix it. So I do genuinely just think it's a different mindset, a different point of view, you know? But yes, anyway, I believe that covers everything I wanted to talk about, so let's move on to Patreon questions. Right, first up, what did you think of Damon and Elena's hot and sexy dance? I mean, it was hot and sexy. Like, don't get me wrong, obviously, they had blood coming from their mouths, and it was concerning because Elena was letting go, but it was nice to see Elena let go. And you definitely can say that about Damon. He definitely influences Elena's, what we consider the negative side, but I think it's something that you could argue whether letting go and just feeding on people is a negative. Like, it's just a different point of view. But yeah, anyway, the actual dance itself, very hot, very sexy, and it's just nice to see Elena be that way. And I think that that's a definite thing that Stefan can't do for Elena. It's something that is uniquely part of Damon and Elena's relationship. So, I don't know. We'll see where Elena's thought process goes on all that and her opinion towards Damon and his way of life, because that could very well influence whether she does want to be with Stefan or Damon. Because in my opinion, even though she says she's made her choice, in my opinion, it is still up in the air. Right, next up, do you think that Damon's response to Bonnie about being a vampire was a good response and it's about time people start accepting the truth? I don't know, because I agree with it. What Damon said, absolutely true. That is what a vampire is. If we're looking at a textbook, if we're dealing with a new vampire, that is what they are. They are creatures who are designed to feed on humans, who their very purpose is to feed on humans to keep their strength, and that they are above human beings. But that does not necessarily mean that that's the only way they can live, and that does not necessarily mean that that's the best way they can live. I just think it's one singular point of view. So I do think that people do need to start accepting that towards Damon, and they do need to start accepting that that is definitely a way of living as a vampire, and they shouldn't be judged by human standards, because at the end of the day, they're not fucking human. They are vampires. That's what they are. But that being said, I don't think Damon should use that as a be-all, end-all, this is what a vampire is, it's the only way they can live, you know? Now, next up, what do you think about human Elena being more suited towards Stefan and vampire Elena being more suited for Damon? Interesting. I do remember thinking something similar, but I don't know that I necessarily agree with it fully. I think that the parts of Elena's personality that have changed when she's become a vampire definitely tip the scales more towards Damon, but I think that at the end of the day, she is still who she used to be. There's just certain aspects of herself that are different, and I think that there are certain... I'm finding it so hard to like gather my words right now. The reason I would agree with that statement is that I do think that if we're looking at their base personalities, human Elena would be more suited to Stefan and vampire Elena would be more suited to Damon. But that's just very much simplifying it. If we're actually getting into the nitty-gritty details, that statement doesn't really make sense because it is still Elena. Elena is who she was before and she's who she is after. There are just certain little changes. For instance, I don't think that human Elena truly understood the urge of feeding and truly understood what that meant for Stefan until she turned. And in turning, now understands Damon more as well. And I think that that's taken a few of her prejudices of Damon away and has kind of opened herself up to being more understanding of him and more understanding of his way of life. Because like she said, she understands what Damon's saying and she agrees with what he's saying, and that scares her. And obviously she did not have that knowledge before. So that's why I don't really think that the statement human Elena is more suited to Stefan and vampire Elena is more suited to Damon makes sense, because I don't think it's that. I think that it's that past Elena was more suited towards Stefan, but present Elena is more suited towards Damon because of the way she's changed, as any human being would. Like, she's gained new information, new insights, new experiences that have literally just changed her to the point where she's more understanding of Damon and might be more suited towards him now. So yeah, I don't know if my rambling made sense then. I was a bit confused myself, but basically, I don't fully agree with it. I think that the wording is more so that past Elena was suited for Stefan and present Elena is more suited for Damon simply because of life experience and how that would change any person. Do you get what I mean? But yes, anyway, moving on. An extension of the previous question. By being with Stefan, do you think Elena could be held back from exploring her vampirism to the fullest? I definitely think so. And it's a tough one because I don't want to say that Elena should just break up with Stefan because he's holding her back, because I don't necessarily think that it's a be-all end-all her being with Stefan. I think that so long as Stefan is, and Elena herself, is open with her exploring these things with Damon, then it's perfectly fine. But I can understand why that would be an issue for both of them, and that could be that could result in the end of their relationship. But Stefan himself, like, you look at this episode alone, he couldn't go to the college with Elena to help her try and feed on people without killing them because he physically can't do it. Like, physically. It's not he didn't want to. It's not that he doesn't want to help her. It's simply that he physically cannot. So if she's holding herself back from hanging out with Damon, and if Stefan's holding her back from hanging out with Damon, then she will be held back from experiencing those things, which fucking sucks. And I'm sure me, Elena, and Stefan all wish that Stefan could be there for her and help her, but he physically can't. It's a literal reality that he can't do it. So I don't know. I do think that it is holding her back a bit, but whether that should mean the ending of their relationship, I can't say. Right, next up, how do you feel about how Stefan and Klaus treated Rebecca in this episode? I mean, I think I made it perfectly clear how I feel about Rebecca and Klaus and how he treated her, but I suppose I didn't really talk about Stefan's side of things. It does really disappoint me. Like, I get that Stefan is still holding a bit of resentment for how Rebecca was responsible for Elena becoming a vampire, and that he would obviously use the idea of the cure being his way for him and Elena to live a happy life together. Of course, that would influence him to do this, but that doesn't make the action any better. It doesn't make it any nicer that he went and just did this to Rebecca and betrayed her so willingly, so easily, and then went along with Klaus to stab her and lock her up. You know what I mean? Like, it fucking sucks that Stefan's gone along with this, and I hope that he comes to his senses soon, because if not, then he truly has fallen far down my list for doing that. Now, an extension of that question, and our final question, what do you think about the way Stefan got the information about the sword from Rebecca? I think that that's what sort of hits the most from all of this. Sorry, there's light coming in. It's ruining my bloody lighting. I think that looks better. Yeah. Anyway, the thing that annoyed me the most about all of this is the way that he did it. It's the way that he connected with Rebecca and spoke about such a horrible thing in life, having to bury the person that you loved. How he used that as a way to get her to reveal the location. And, like, you've got to think, the only people that were around in those days were her siblings, and she's not just going to be bringing up this Alexander all the time to her siblings. Like, she probably hasn't talked about this guy since 900 years ago. So for all of these thoughts to be brought up, and for her to be so vulnerable in that moment, and to bring up such a personal, hurtful thing, for that to be abused and used against her is fucking disgusting. And that's what made me so angry in the scene, is that it wasn't just a little, get Rebecca over here, get her to tell us a little secret and then stake her. It was a from the heart speech and a connection. They shared a connection about her burying her loved one. And that was used to gather information to then stake her and get rid of her, essentially. Like, it just pisses me off. And I do hope that once she's unstaked, Rebecca can repair her relationship with Matt and hopefully have a positive journey here out and get the chance to live a happy life of love and affection, because my God, does she deserve it at this point. But yes, anyway, there we have it. Season 4, episode 4 of The Vampire Diaries. Another fantastic episode. We've got a lot of questions answered, but a lot more, not necessarily questions, but a lot of storylines opened up, a lot of branches to explore, with Bonnie discovering these new branches of magic. I assume that's what we were talking about. We didn't really get a clear indication, but he is teaching her some things that he's learned over the years. And then speaking of that man, can't remember his name, but he seems to be part of the Brotherhood. Whether he is one of the 5 or he's just someone who's done research in it and found Connor and sort of used him to try and progress the tattoo to get the map. We've got a lot more to explore with him as well. And also Elena's storylines and where she's going in her journey to discovering who she is now. We've got a lot more to explore with that as well. But yes, anyway, with that said, thank you very much for watching. I've left a link down below to my Patreon, where you're able to find the early and uncut reactions to The Vampire Diaries and all the other shows that I do. I've also left a link to my Twitch, my Discord, and my socials, so be sure to follow them if you are interested. And Jess, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.